All right, Max. So for the new year, it is a new year. Uh, we have devised a little bit of a challenge for ourselves, and
Yep.
not a very deep challenge, I would say, but just kind of like a goal for ourselves. And
Mhm.
it was a goal to just play some very specific games that we're either interested in or have been on our backlog for some time. Does that
Yeah.
sound like it's an appropriate way to put it?
Yeah, exactly. Just putting up a list of games that we each like. Like we each have our list and just trying to go through them throughout the year. I did something like that just for me last year because in the Polykill Discord we had a day where people were submitting like list of games they were excited to play next, and I did mine, and I decided that for 2024 I was gonna go and try to play them, which didn't really happen. I only played like 5 or 6 in my list of 25 games, but it gave me a bit of an idea of what I wanted to play throughout the year still. And I realized that I had too much focus on games that I didn't actually own. So buying all of those 25 games was a bit much. But I think I have a much more manageable list this year.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I had reached out to you and some of our other friends and some of my own personal friends and was like, I have my entire collection on my Backloggery, which is a website that you use or you can use to keep track of the games that you have and whether or not you've beaten them or not. And so I reached out to a bunch of people and I was like, hey, give me games that are in my backlog currently that I have not played that you think I should try and play. And so that's where nearly every one of these games that's on my list came from. It was a direct recommendation from somebody else.
Nice. I'm pretty excited to hear what your friends were actually interested in what you actually have.
Um, and I did not write down the names of everybody who recommended me each individual game. If I wanted to take some time to do that, I should have done that before we started recording.
Yeah, exactly. But you are not forgotten.
Yes. Um, if you hear the name of the game and you remember that you recommended it to me, know that I do have your name written down on a separate list, just not on the list that I'm currently looking at. So,
All right. So do you want
we're
me to go first, or do you are you going first?
you can go ahead and go first.
All right. Well, just like you, I asked a couple people around. So I devised my list of 25 games into categories. And my first category is games that people are recommending to me, specifically for me. So first game I asked to Top Spot 123. Shout out to Top Spot with his awesome YouTube channel. And he recommended me Sokobond, which is a block pusher where you actually are making bonds between elements. So it's kind of a science themed block pusher. Pretty interested because I love those block pushers. Um, Guido from New Game, Old Flame podcast decided to recommend me some of his games of the year of the past years, and I selected Bug Snacks in the list. I I know that it's kind of a Pokemon Snap kind of thing. I think you go around an island collecting bugs. I know it's kind of funny game.
Mhm.
I don't know really much about the gameplay though, so pretty interested in checking that out.
I
Mr.
really want to
Mo,
play that one.
yeah, it looks good. So I'm pretty excited for that. Mr. Mo, our good friend from Germany, recommended me Trombone Champ, which is a funny rhythm game where you simulate playing a trombone with your mouse. So you go like front and back on the tempo to play the trombone, but with a mouse. Not sure where this is gonna go, but I don't play a lot of rhythm games also, so it's gonna be a pretty interesting. No, I'm sorry, that's not Mr. Mo. That's Rob from the Classic Gaming Podcast that recommended me Trumbo Champ.
Okay.
In, the next one is actually Mr. Mo. He recommended me Dungeon Divers, which is roguelike, pixel art, pretty basic, I think. Roguelike. I don't know much about it. And finally, Josh from the Indie Quest recommended me Kato Buttered Cat. They had a lot of praises for that game last year, and I love a good puzzle game. That's a puzzle platformer where you control both a toast and a cat. So
Yeah.
that's my first category. A bunch of random games from people.
Okay. My first list of 5 games is mostly Game Boy games and one Super Famicom game. So from the Super Famicom, Psycho Dream, which was a platformer that was only released in Japan. I recently bought this from LHC Greg, and he has recommended that I play that. I do remember that one for sure. But then I've got the Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Seasons, which
Hmm.
I've owned for like 5 years and not played. Kirby's Pinball Land, which is supposed to be, according to some accounts, very easy, or other accounts, very hard. So we'll
Yeah.
see. Metroid 2, which I like the Metroid games. I just haven't gone back and played the old ones. Like I've never played any of the ones before Super Metroid, so that should be fun. And Pokemon Silver, which I own, and I don't remember when I got it, but I never played past first gen Pokemon outside of the trading card game when I was a kid. So I don't think I've ever actually played Silver before. So that should be interesting. I'm not a big Pokemon fan.
Yeah, that gen is pretty fun. There's a lot of unique mechanics, and the post game content also is really good. So
Okay.
some great Game Boy games you got there. All right, for my second category is I never finished those games. So it's a bunch of games that I started mostly like 7 years ago when I was gaming a bit, and I never touched back in my sim library. The first game is Snake Pass, a 3D platformer without a jump where you play a cute little snake. Very really fun game. I'm I'm sure I'm gonna beat it in no time this time around. Dead Cells, roguelike, Souls-like 2D. It's I played when it was in alpha, so I don't know how different the game is today, but I could never beat it. I really tried hard for a while and it was way too difficult for me. So let's see if I'm a better gamer in 2025. Anti-chamber, kind of Portal style puzzle where the world is bending around you and it's all non-Euclidean geometry, so a room can loop back on itself. It's super crazy, really fun game. I think I just got lost at some point and I never went back, so I might have to start it back from scratch.
Mm.
Vessel, 2D puzzle platformer where you have a gun and you can use elements with the gun. I played that a while back. I don't remember much, but I think I was very close to the end. So it should just be a matter of popping back in, finding my bearings, and finishing the game. And Applejack 2, it's a precision platformer where you play an apple and you throw enemies Mario 2 style, but with an arc, and all the enemies bump into each other and they make combos. You have a bunch of coins going around. I love those games. I never beaten Applejack 2, but I did beat Applejack 1. But both games are like 100 levels long, and they're
Hmm.
semi-long levels. So it should be a game. It's a game I should be playing like a little at a time. I don't think. I think I would burn out if I just try to beat
Right.
that game in one sitting. But yeah, a bunch of games I hope to finally beat in
Uh,
2025.
nice. Um, For my next set of 5, I've got Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. This is one of the ones that came out on DS, and I've never played any of the DS or 3DS Castlevania games. And I'm a big fan of the ones that were on Game Boy Advance. I love
Hmm.
Castlevania Bloodlines. I love Castlevania 4. I love Symphony of the Night. So I am a fan of the genre and that series in general. And I have not played any of the DS ones, so I'm looking to dive into those. Retro Game Challenge is a game that I was given by Blink last year. We did a stream last year where um, we each bought each other like a certain number of dollars worth of games, and that was one of the games that he got me in that exchange.
Hmm.
And I still have not played it, so looking to actually get into that. Star Fox Adventures is one that I started playing a little bit last year and just wasn't really in the mood for a 3D platformer at the time, so
Hmm.
I abandoned it. So I want to get back into that. Trauma Center New Blood on the Wii is like a surgery simulator game where you use the Wii remote. And it's
Wild.
supposed to be very anime and very weird and also kind of difficult. So it's supposed to be like a really good Wii game. And while there's not like there's a lot of shovelware on the Wii, but there's also a lot of stuff that is like weird and kind of unknown. And I feel like Trauma Center is one of those games that sort of fits into that. Like if you know, you know, and if you don't know, then you probably have never heard of it before, right?
Hmm.
And then X-Men Legends. I was actually recommended the second one, but I haven't played the first one yet. And these games are just essentially Diablo clones set in the
Yeah.
X-Men universe. And I like Diablo clones; they're fun, like just top-down hack and slash action RPGs. It's always a good time.
Yeah. Just a good time. All right. Speaking of good times, my third category is let's play some good games for once. And
Nice,
so those games don't need any introduction. Dark Souls Remastered that I started playing for the new year. I'm about 5 hours in or something. Really liking the game so far.
nice.
The Last of Us Part 2, I'm waiting for the series to come back and watch season 2 before playing the game. And also, I don't have a PS4 or 5, so but it's supposed to release on PC. So hopefully, I will
Yep.
be able to play that game on PC. Fallout New Vegas, I've heard good things from you and from other people. Doom 2016 and Sea of Stars that I actually started last year, so I will go back and finish that up.
Okay. My next list of games is mostly PS2 games, and I love the PS2. I love playing my PS2, but I got one PS1 game in there, and it's Jade Cocoon, which is a JRPG that has like a Pokemon-like mechanic attached to it. And it's not where you like capture monsters and then like evolve them together and stuff. It's supposed to be really, really cool. I've seen some videos about it. Um, it's not also not supposed to be very long. I get kind of tired of JRPGs, like traditional JRPGs, pretty easily. So this one's only supposed to be like 15 hours long, which good. I'm fine with that. That's a perfect length for me. And then for the PS2, I've got Bully on here, and I have actually played Bully before, but it hasn't been. It's been like since I was in high school since the last time I played it. And this is the Rockstar game where you play as a like high school bully.
Yeah.
It's a good time. I want to play it again. I currently don't consider it played because it's been probably close to 20 years since the last time I
Yeah,
played
yeah,
it.
yeah.
24, the game, which is based on the TV show, is supposed to be surprisingly good. I played about 20 minutes of it one day and was having a good time with it, but then just never went back. Onimusha 3, I would like to finish the Onimusha series if possible before the new one comes out. And I've never finished 3 before, so I got that on here. And then Driver 3 was recommended me by Mr. Mo, I believe. And I think that's supposed to be a Grand Theft Auto clone. I'm not
Okay.
sure, but I have it.
Yeah. Cool. On my side, my fourth category is I like platformers, and so there's a bunch of platformers I want to play this year. First one is Nico de Rico. It released last year. It looks like a mix between Crash Bandicoot and Donkey Kong Country, two of my favorite platformers ever. So really excited to try this out. Corn Kid 64, indie game inspired by like Banjo-Kazooie, Rayman 2. I think it's surprisingly versatile in the movement and everything, so pretty excited to try this out. Spyro 2 Remastered. I played Spyro Run in 2023, and I did not really like it. It wasn't really what I was expecting. I was expecting more of a Mario 64 feel, but the levels are a lot more linear than I was expecting. Plus, I had a lot of trouble with the controls. Like it always felt like I wasn't dashing where I wanted to dash, but still interested in the series, so I'm gonna try to beat 2 this year. Teo the
Okay.
Kangaroo. I think the remastered just released last year, and I know nothing about this series of 3D platformers, so I'm
Was that a
interested.
remaster? I thought that was a new game
Yeah.
in the series.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a reboot. Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
either
know much
way.
about this. Yeah, I don't know much about the series, so I'm interested into discovering this universe. And finally, Sonic Dream Team, the 3D platformer for iPhone and Mac platforms on Apple Arcade. I started it a while back, and it's super fun. Just never finished it. So it's a really good 3D platformer.
Okay. All right. My next list of games here is mostly PS3 games, and then one PS4 game mixed in there as well. I've got Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Like I've got the Rebel Alliance and the Empire tattooed on my arms, like those symbols tattooed on my arms. So I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Have been for many many years. I've never played Force Unleashed. It's supposed to be good. I don't know why I
Yeah,
haven't played it.
time.
Um, Lost Planet was a very early PS3 game, and
Hmm.
is supposed to be a really fun third-person shooter. Deadly Premonition is supposed to be like a weird survival horror type game, I think. I don't know much
Yeah,
about it. I've just always been told it was good. And then Spec Ops: The Line is a first-person shooter that's supposed to be like really visceral and have a good story. And then Subnautica is the final one on this part of the list, which is a survival crafting game where you spend your entire time underwater. And I like survival crafting games, and this one's supposed to be like one of the best ones.
hmm nice list of games right there. And finally, to conclude my list, my last category is Romax. I just every year I think, yeah, I should play more Romax, and I never do.
Mhm.
So now I put a bunch on my list, so I should play them. The first one is Super Mario Zap and Dash, which is a mix between it's a Romac of Mario 1, but it's basically Celeste in Mario 1. It looks awesome.
Okay.
The second one is Takwa 64, which is a remake of Mario 64, but set in the Bionicle universe. Really interested in that one because I like Bionicles when I was a kid, and
Me too.
it looks really well made. Rayman Redemption, if I understand correctly, is just a revised version of Rayman 1 to make it more fair and more like a good platformer instead of being a rage-inducing platformer.
Hmm.
Legend of Princess, it's an homage to The Legend of Zelda, but it's like 2D action platformer. And finally, Castlevania Simon's Destiny, which is a mod of Doom, but with Castlevania. So you're playing at the first person and using your whip in a Doom style environment. It looks really cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, that sounds fun. You'll have to let me know about that one. I might have to check that out.
Cool, cool, cool.
All right, my final list of five. Signalis is a survival horror game that was released on PS4. Indie survival horror, supposed to be like throwback to the old Resident Evil style, and I love those games. So
Hmm.
Tunic, one of the most highly praised indie games that I still have not played, even though I bought a physical copy of it. Conquer Live and Reloaded. This is the remake of Conquer's Bad Fur Day that was released for Xbox. I own a lot of Xbox games, and I just don't play that console very often, so I want to make an effort to try and play it a little bit more this year.
Oh,
And then Super Paper Mario on the Nintendo Wii. We'll see if I actually end up getting around to this one, Max. I know you recommended it to me. I liked Paper Mario 64, but I never finished it. I thought it was okay, and then I ended up selling it. So,
yeah, but this one is not an RPG.
oh, it's not okay.
No, it's a platformer basically with a bit of RPG stats and stuff, but it's a puzzle platformer basically.
Okay, so I might like this more than other people ended up liking it.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
see.
exactly.
And then final one that I have is Dot Hack Mutation. I have this on here because I own all of the Dot Hack games for PS2, and I would like to finally get around to playing the fourth one, Dot Hack Quarantine, which is one of the most expensive PS2 games like you
Okay.
can get.
Oh,
And I've had it for years, but in order for me to play the fourth one, I need to play the first three in the series. And I've beaten the first one, and I got halfway through Mutation. These are action RPGs set in the Dot Hack universe, which is an anime franchise, like deals with virtual reality kind of
mhm.
MMORPG style combat.
Okay, okay.
Um, Yeah, so I want to get back into the Dot Hack games because I've got this one very expensive game just sitting on my shelf that I would like to actually be able to play.
Awesome. That's a great list of games. So if you want to see the games and remember all of those, we'll post them into the socials and stuff. And if you want to play along and try some of the games that we're interested in, well, you can see what we will try to play this year. So
Yeah. We're gonna
pretty
try to
excited.
get to all of these
Yeah,
games, but we're not making any like guarantees. This is just kind of a roadmap for us to go by to remind us, hey, we should play some of these games that we've been recommended.
yeah, exactly. So I'm pretty excited to revisit some of those games and discover all those awesome, awesome recommendations.
Me too. But this is the Trash Station Podcast, your gaming podcast about the weird, unknown, and forgotten video games. I am your host, Chris, and I am here with my co-host, Max. Max, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Chris. And you know, in our friend circle, we're known to play some kind of trashy games. We're talking anime games, retro games you've never heard of, the indie stuff on itch.io, and everything in between.
And as usual, we will add those games to our tier list we call the Landfill and chat about our creative hobbies and shout out some of our favorite content creators on the internet.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Max, we got some games to talk about today. I've got a few
Yep.
more than you. So how about
Yeah.
I get started with giving an update to a game that I talked about a few episodes ago.
Oh, let's hear that.
So I finally finished Aliens Fireteam Elite. If you remember, this was 2 or 3 episodes ago. I was talking about I was playing this co-op on stream with one of
Hmm.
my local friends of mine, and
Yep.
it is a third-person squad-based cover shooter set in the Alien universe. Oh, excuse me. Goddamn, my bad. It's a third-person. It's a third-person cover-based squad-based shooter set in the Alien universe, and it's really really fun. We finally got around to actually finishing the game. We were only playing 2 or 3 missions every time we streamed. We would stream for an hour and a half to 2 hours every Wednesday or so, usually.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, so it took a little while to actually get through it. We probably could have gotten through it faster, but we were kind of taking our time with it and having fun. We replayed some missions. You got like daily missions that give you additional loot to be able to buy things in game. So like we would go back and do additional missions to do those dailies or the weekly missions. Um I think this is a game that I'll continue to kind of just play in the background from time to time when I want to play something with my friend. We might even play some more on stream. I might play some by myself, whether that's like just online with randoms or by myself, just kind of in general. Um, but yeah, this game's just really, really fun. If you like the Aliens universe and you wanted a really good, cover shooter in that universe, like this is one of the best Alien games I've played.
Awesome. Does it change your ranking on the tier list or anything?
No, I don't think so. I think last time I put it on the tier list, I put it on the A tier, and I think that's perfectly reasonable place to put it. Like it's a good game. It's a great game. I really enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say that it's an absolute banger in any way.
Awesome. I also have a couple updates, so I'm gonna throw them right away. First one, searching for rest. I brought that game last episode. It was a gift from Mr. Mo, and that's why I don't have many games because I just continued playing that game up to 100%, and now I'm fully, I say fully done. There's a couple achievements I could do, but other than that, I'm fully done with the game. I will say that it got really repetitive. Like to reach the end game, you have to beat the game like 20 times, and after that, you need to play the game and kind of beat it another 5 times, and then you unlock the last class, and then you need to beat the game another 5 times. So
Oof.
it's a roguelike, and it's a lot of randomness. So it could have been just winning 2 or 3 times per class. It didn't need to be 5 times per class. That's way too much.
Right.
But and also the last class, I had a lot of trouble. It's kind of harder to play with that class, but actually it's way easier. It's just I didn't really understand one of its powers in the end game. And once I understood, I won on my first try. It's really overpowered. I was just being really dumb.
Okay.
And there's a bit of like mystery around the game. Once you've beaten all the first 3 classes, the next steps of winning is not just winning the game. You have to decode like a hint trying to tell you what to do, and you have to do some specific steps while you play to actually unlock the next step to finally unlock the curse. So that was fun. It reminded me a lot of old games and trying to search for clues on the internet and talking with people. So that was fun, but I think I would still leave it on the A tier, but the 100% experience is just fine.
Okay.
And my other update is for a game called Raide that I brought uh, a while back on the show. It's a puzzle game where you move train tracks into a little space and you try to get the train to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was talking about the game last time, I said, "Oh yeah, I finished the game, but now I'm doing the post-game content. I should be done soon." I was very wrong. So once you finish the game the first time, you unlock 2 sets of levels, and once you've beaten those sets of levels, you then unlock another set of levels in space. And once you're done with that, you get another ending, and then you have to do some kind of Metroidvania, third fourth wall thinking to unlock another set of levels and get the true third final ending. And I'm really amazed that a free game just is just sitting like that on itch.io. It has 5 times the content that it actually says on the page. It's
Mm-hmm.
super clever. There's it's not just puzzles like placing train tracks. Yes, that part of the game is fun, but everything else around it, the story, the ambience, all the side puzzles, it's really freaking good. And I will bump it up to absolute banger. It
Nice.
it was a fine puzzle game, but in the end, it was an awesome experience. And yeah, it's totally deserving of a second shout out. I was blown away by all the content.
Very cool. Yeah, sounds really good. All right, so after I got done playing Raft after our last episode, I was really in the mood to play a theme park simulation game. And I didn't want to go back and play the first Roller Coaster Tycoon because it's pretty old. So what I ended up doing was I'd been having this craving to play that genre of game for a little while. So here in my office where I stream from, I had sitting right next to me for a little while Thrillville Off the Rails for PS2, which is supposed to be a like theme park simulator style game, except its primary gimmick was that you ran around as a character in your theme park instead of it being like top down like god mode and just point and click on stuff. um and I think that's an interesting concept. I just don't think this game executes it very well. um when there's a couple problems that I have with this game. For one, the only places it allows you to build new rides or coasters or anything are in very specific designated areas, so it's not like you're actually able to customize the theme park in any meaningful way other than being like, oh well, I want this ride in this spot on the left instead of this spot on the right. um and then the actual missions that the game gives you to like complete are all basically just, oh, go to this place and play the mini game, because every one of the rides and every one of the shops is basically just a mini game. Whether that's like when you go to, if you build a restaurant and you want to make it better, you basically have to play Bubble Bobble at the restaurant shop.
Okay.
A lot of the rides and stuff are basically just like you go up to the thing and you have to do a gallery shooter with a PS2 analog stick, which is not a great way to play a gallery shooter. It just is frustrating and not very fun. And I seriously tried to give it a solid like chance. I wanted, because I had played Thrillville before when I was a kid and I liked it back then. But I don't think this game has held up basically at all. And all it did was make me want to play a real theme park simulator, which I did. So Thrillville, we're going to toss this game out and throw it right in the trash. It's not fun.
Sad. It's sad thing when you revisit a game and it's just not. It just doesn't work.
But what it did lead me to was buying Planet Coaster from 2016 on PC. I bought it on Steam. It went on sale for, I don't know, something like $2. And if you want a modern version of Roller Coaster Tycoon where you actually have to build a theme park, Planet Coaster is really, really good at being that game. Since the Tycoon games are basically dead, this has taken its place. And as far as I can tell, like, it's fairly well received. I've really been having a good time with it. Since our last episode, I've put about 25 hours into this game, which is kind of a lot. Most of that was within like 4 days.
Wow.
So I Planet Coaster is it's Roller Coaster Tycoon. You're building a theme park, except it gives you a scenario and you go in to get through like the main scenario campaign modes. It gives you it'll give you a park and X amount of starting dollars, and there will be like some kind of description of the park. Like one of them, it was like you're taking over the management of this park from these people. They've been running this park for years, but another park opened up across town with a bunch of roller coasters, and now they're falling into obscurity. So you're trying to make this park that used to be good thrive again, and you're doing that by building new rides, but you can't get rid of the old rides that were already there. and you're doing all the normal sim management type things. You're making sure that you're making enough profit, making hard decisions like shutting down shops, shutting down rides if they're not making any money for you. Um, and all of that is fun and interesting. One of the interesting things actually I think about this game is that like if you fire too many employees at the same time, it'll make all of your other employees upset and not want to work anymore. So you kind of have to be strategic about when you start getting rid of employees if you want to fire them. So like this park that I was talking about in specific, like when you load up into the park, you have like 8 guys on your cleaning crew and uh like 15 different food stands open throughout the park, and most of them are not profitable at all because
Mhm.
nobody's really coming to this park. So you can't just shut down 5 food stands and fire, 5 of your cleaning crew all at the same time because then everybody else is going to get mad and quit. So I would systematically shut down a couple of shops here, fire one cleaning crew guy because I don't need 8 of you. And then the next month, because it works on a month to month basis, the next month I would fire another cleaning guy, close down another shop, open up some new shops somewhere else, and just kind of move things around. I've been having a lot of fun with this game. Yeah, I mean it's Roller Coaster Tycoon, but with a modern coat of paint. You can build roller coasters. I'm really bad at that. Every time I've built a coaster in this game, nobody has wanted to ride it because either it's not fun enough or the ratings on it are like, oh, nobody's gonna survive this roller coaster,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I I don't understand what I'm doing wrong here. Like I'm supposed to make a drop into a loop. That's what you want, and somehow when you do it, when the game does it itself, that drop into a loop is fine. But when I do it, I'm making too many G's on the guys, and they can't
Uh,
survive the little loop. So, but because it's on Steam, you have the Steam Workshop, and you can download other people's roller coasters. Like, I mean, there's tens of
yeah.
thousands of roller coasters that you can just load into your game by downloading them from the workshop. You still have to pay money for them in game. Your in-game currency, your money that your park has to make. You still have to buy them, but you can get the plans for them at least, and just put them into your. It's
Nice.
great. I'm loving this
Yeah.
game. Right up top. It's the complete opposite. Absolute banger. I love this game. I'm gonna continue playing
Awesome.
it.
Yeah, that's not my favorite genre. I don't play much of any kind of simulation games, but I I like that you're getting a kick out of it. It sounds like you're having a great time.
Yeah, it's not a genre that I play a lot of, but every once in a while, I get a kick for to play something like this, and this was definitely one of those times.
Cool. On a very smaller scope, I played a game called Shaky Island on itch.io, and it's basically a Game Boy style adventure game. And what you do is that you go around an island with uh, a block of paper and a pen, and you have to draw the pixel art of everything you find on the island. It's a very short
Hmm.
game, and it's a bit too easy for my taste. Like you go on the beach, you see a crab, you draw the crab, you see a fish, you draw the fish, and so on and so forth. There are very few like puzzles in the game. The meat of the game is just copying the pixel art. So sometimes like the fish will move, so you need a bit more concentration to actually do the pixel art just right. But other than that, it's just copying some pixel art.
Okay.
And near the end, there's one puzzle that's kind of very obtuse, where at least it's a puzzle. There's like a face of a bear, and one quarter of the face is all darkened out. So I tried everything to draw the outline of the bear, and nothing worked. And actually, I had to draw the inside of the bear, like the missing piece, but not the outline, just like the filling. And it just goes against the drawing because the drawing was white with a black outline, and you
Hmm.
cannot draw in white. You have to draw in black and stuff. So that was kind of dumb. But other than that, yeah, you go around and you draw some pixel art. That was super relaxing. It was pretty cute, pretty fun. Uh, I don't have much more to say. It's a fine itch.io game. I had a good 30 minutes playing that game, and I won't probably, or that I won't even remember playing this game when we're doing our awards at the end of 2025.
Nice. You know, I love a game like that though. It's I love playing these weird little experiences that people make sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun just trying something new. Like
Hmm.
I had no idea what I was going to play. I had no idea what to expect, and I ended up having a fine time.
Awesome. Well, I also had a fine time playing what many consider to be one of the best games on the Wii U, and that is Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker.
That
And
game is good.
yeah, it might just be one of the best games on the Wii U. Like, so for anyone unaware, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is a Wii U game that was released in 2014. It is essentially for the most part, a single screen puzzle game where you play as Toad from the Mario universe, and the primary gimmick is that you're on like these very small like puzzle islands, and you have to rotate the islands in different ways to be able to find hidden paths to find the gemstones and the other treasures within the island, and then get to the star at the end of the island. Um, every one of the levels has this same kind of concept, but uh, the way that they have made these little puzzle boxes is so genius and so cool. Like finding some of the treasures, I didn't 100% the game, but I tried my best to try and find all the treasures and get all the coins in every level as I was playing through it. Like, I basically played this whole game in one day because it was fun.
Wow.
I didn't want to stop
Yeah.
playing it. Um, and yeah, it's very intuitive. It's not very challenging, but it is kind of challenging at the same time.
Yeah.
The boss encounters, you have like these encounters against a dragon that are a lot of fun, and then the primary antagonist is like this giant bird that keeps running off with your stars, and either Toad or Toadette gets dragged off with him. Um, yeah, it's a really cute game. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't played Treasure Tracker, everyone who's talked it up is not like pulling your chain. It is a solid, really good game.
Oh yeah. I played it on the Switch, the re-release for the Switch, and it's an
Hmm.
awesome time. And there's even more content in the Switch version. There's like a Mario Odyssey DLC pack
Nice.
for free. So that's pretty good. But yeah, I was going for the 100% thing, and that's just very long. There's a lot of side content that keeps popping up. So yeah, I think I'm like 90% there. But yeah, it's an awesome game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there were some bonus levels that unlocked for me after I beat the main game, and I was like, I'm just gonna leave those aside for right now if I feel like coming back to this at a later point. Um and there were a couple of levels where I struggled a little bit to get like all three of the
The
gemstones that you need
diamond,
to
yeah.
collect. Yeah, the diamonds. Um so there were a few of them where like I was able to figure out how to get to one, and I was like, that's enough for right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but this game all the way up at the top in absolute bangers. Like it's well deserves all the praise that it gets.
Wow, we have a pretty good track record this episode. It's pretty banger heavy.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
love
I think so.
we love to see it.
It's going to keep going that way from me for right now,
Ooh,
at least.
oh, pretty interesting. All right, for me, my next game, it's another small itch.io experience. I played another one of those black and white block pushers. It's called Covemachine, and in this one, you actually have to program your little dudes to push the blocks on the flag, on the X's and reach the flag. So
Okay.
you can have up to 4 different characters on the screen, and you have to set a set of commands for each one of them, and you have to figure out the puzzle. So basically, the characters can only walk forward, walk 1 square to the left, 1 square to the right, or go all the way back. So if there's 10 spaces behind you and a wall, you go up to the wall in just one move. You cannot just go back 1 step. And there's other sets of commands, like you can turn yourself into a wall, so you could potentially become a wall and block the path for your next dude that will end up exactly where you want. You can turn yourself into a block so you can be pushed over water and other stuff like that. You can also create loops, so like do a set of 4 different steps, and then a loop of 4 other steps, and then only those 4 steps will loop one after the other. So it's a mix between programming and block pusher, and it was really hard. I think it's the hardest of the block pushers that the Baba Is You dev made so far. Some of the puzzles I was on the screen for like an hour just
Oh,
trying
geez.
stuff out, and yeah, it was super fun. That's exactly the kind of game that I like, but it's up there in the difficulty, and I'm a programmer as my professional work.
Mhm.
So that's my job. So combining programming with a block pusher, that wasn't a big deal for me, but I could see that be a bit more difficult to other people. So it was
Okay,
kind of
so when
yeah,
when you say programmer, you're talking like literally writing code, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. In this instance, it's just setting blocks of different commands, but yeah, the logical thinking is what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Mhm.
So it was kind of if this game was specifically designed for me. And yeah, I would put it up there in the great games A tier. It's just another great game in the series, and really interested to see if this series of tiny block pushers is going to continue in 2025. I think this one was released right after our last episode, so it was still in December. So I don't know if this was just a 2024 thing or if I have like 25 other of those block pushers to play this year. We'll see.
Okay. So and he just keeps releasing these games for free, doesn't he?
Yeah. I guess he made enough money with Baba Is You that he doesn't really need to make those games profitable, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this could totally be a game released for $15. There's so much content that he developed over the last year. I don't know where this is going. If there's just like this side tangent trying ideas out, and
Right.
this will turn into a bigger project afterwards, but I'm enjoying the ride.
He's going to eventually combine all of these games together into Baba Is You 2, and it's
Yeah,
going to be massive.
I I guess this is a very possible possibility.
All right. So next game that I wanted to talk about is Sonic and All-Star Racing's Transformed on the Wii U. This game came out in 2012. As you can tell, I was playing my Wii U a bit, and I still am playing my Wii U with some other games that I'm not talking about today.
Ooh, interesting.
Uh, yeah, they'll come on the next episode. Um, but Sonic Racing Transformed really should be called Sega All Stars Racing Transform, but
Hmm.
they put Sonic name on it to try and draw those dollars in because Sonic is the bankable character. Because there's only
Yep.
really like 5 or 6 actual Sonic characters in the game. Because you got Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, uh,
The
Amy,
Blucky.
Shadow, and Eggman. I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think those
something like
just
that.
those 6. But then you also have characters from Shinobi, Space Channel 5, Nights into Dreams, Shenmue, Golden Axe, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Monkey Ball, Skies of Arcadia, and levels based around those games, as well as Panzer Dragoon and Billy Hatcher. And if I have not said it already, this is a kart racer. And
Yeah,
the interesting thing about this kart racer is that it's called Transformed, I think kind of for 2 reasons. One is that your car literally transforms between being a car, being a boat, and being a plane. So there will be like these triggers. There are these big round circles in various places across the level that you're playing, where um, you'll drive through them, and then instead of being driving on the road, you will transform into a boat and be driving on some water and controlling a boat on the water, racing, or you'll be up in the air flying your car as though it were a plane. And all of that is really, really cool. The second reason I think they called it Transformed is because a lot of the levels actually change mid race. So you'll be you'll play the first 2 laps along the same track, and then something dynamic will happen where part of the track like shifts, and now you're on basically a different track from what you were on the first lap. And I think on a couple of them it even changes each individual lap.
yeah,
uh it's really cool. Like the levels are themed really well. Like I'm not familiar with all of these games. Like I never played Skies of Arcadia, I never played Billy Hatcher, never played most of Shenmue. I don't even remember if there was actually a level set for Shenmue. I think you can just unlock Rio
yeah.
as a character. I don't remember a level. I could be wrong. I could be mistaken. There may have been one set somewhere in like Japan, just kind of 1930s Japan, because that's when Shenmue was set, right? In the 30s. I don't remember. It does not matter. Um, but yeah, man, this game's just, it's a really, really good kart racer. Um, each one of the tracks, when you go in, you can select a difficulty level, and so bronze, silver, or gold difficulty. And the difficulty not only it changes 2 things. One, it changes your minimum level placement that you have to be in order to actually win the race. So if you play on the easiest difficulty, the bronze, you can place up to 3rd place to be able to win. And if you play on the hardest difficulty, the gold difficulty, you have to place 1st in order to win. And then obviously silver, you have to place 2nd or 1st in order to win the
Hmm.
race.
I checked,
Um,
and yeah, there's a seasonal shrines. It's a level in Japan with the Mount Fuji in the background,
oh, okay.
based in the
Oh,
Shinobi
yeah, yeah,
universe.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that now. Um, but yeah, the game controls really, really well. I mean, like, no complaints. Its primary mechanic is really about drifting and boosting. You get up to 3 different levels of boost depending on how long you hold your drift, and you can kind of shift your character, your car, one way or the other while you're drifting, so you can get some really, really long drifts to be able to get faster boosts. So a lot of the game comes down to trying to chain together both the boost pads that are on the track itself along with your boosts from your drifts, so that you're maintaining like a constant boost throughout the entire race. And then you do have weapons like you do in all kart racers, but they're not insane. Like several episodes ago, I played Madagascar carts, and all of the weapons were like a little over the top and
Yeah,
wacky and very impactful to the game. Most of these are either just an additional boost or a projectile weapon, and when you hit somebody with them, they'll stop momentarily, but then very quickly regain speed. So they're not the most useful things, but they at the same time they still are useful. And then
yeah, yeah.
a few of the tracks will be uh like these special challenges. Like one of them is like maintaining drifts on very specific portions of the track to try and get through checkpoints in a limited
Yeah.
point of time. And by maintaining your drift, you get more time. Same thing with like a boost type level. If whenever you're in a boost, it won't count down the timer, and you're trying to pass through a certain number of checkpoints. And then there's also like levels where you're essentially just trying to kill all of the other racers on the track before the race ends. So those little variations add, I think, enough difference to the game instead of it just being races and nothing but races.
Yeah.
Where like that's fine for something like Mario Kart, where it's nothing but races. I think it's fun to have these little extra things added into the primary campaign story, not story mode, but like the campaign,
Yeah,
because you're yeah.
especially for like the single player experience, it's fun to have more than just racing.
Yes.
It just gives a good amount of variety.
Yes, yeah, it definitely gives that variety. And then as you play through the races, the stars that you unlock for each of the levels of uh race. So like if you play on easy, you only unlock 1 star, but if you play on hard on any of the races, you unlock 3 stars. Those stars allow you to unlock additional racetracks or allow you to unlock the additional racers. Um which is just fun. I've not unlocked all the characters in this game because like I think you need to play all of the races on hard to get like the last couple of characters, but I've unlocked quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. Like this is a really really good
Yeah.
game. Just
I
yeah, I
remember
don't
some of the tracks were kinda hard to read, like the
yeah.
monkey ball track. I had trouble like seeing that I had to turn, and I ended up banging in the rails often because those 90 angles turns weren't super clear. But other than
Yeah.
that, it's super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that for sure. Um as for placement on the tier list, I'd place this solidly in A tier.
Yeah.
Um
All right, my last game for the episode is Warioware Twisted. It's the Game Boy Advance, one of the Game Boy Advance WarioWare games, but in this one, the cartridge had a gyrometer,
mhm.
so you actually play most of the games with motion controls. There's a couple levels where you need to press A, but other than that, everything is done with motion controls. Moving in the menus is done by tilting the Game Boy and everything. And I played on my phone. So that's cool that the gyro actually works in the emulators. So it
Okay.
really felt like playing a modern phone game that released somehow in 2002 or something. And yeah, it works really, really well. It's WarioWare. You go around all different levels, team levels, and you play a bunch of wacky 2-3 seconds mini games. Uh, a couple of the ones that I liked. There's one where you play as a ninja and you have to uh, disarm one of the other ninjas going at you from one of the other of the sides. There's one where you play Wario and he's you have to make up with Mario and you have to move its hands up to the end of Mario so they can shake it off. There's a Zelda one mini game where you have to rotate a Link to block some Octoroks shooting at you, and the game like the game part of the game is awesome, but the whole single player experience is kind of a slug because for every new level that you play, you have to sit through boring cutscenes. It's just a bit cringy. You're just
Mhm.
waiting it out, and you're like, yeah, I would like to play those fun mini games. I don't really care if Jimmy is waiting a phone call from his dad, or I don't know. It's just you're there for the game. So that part was a bit dumb, and you finish one of the levels, and you have to wait a good 2-3 minutes before you can actually play the next level because you need to watch the end cutscene and then you need to watch the debut cutscene of the other level. So that is a bit boring. And I was stuck on the last boss of the game. And I checked online, and it seems to be a general consensus that this last boss really sucks.
Okay.
It's a rhythm game, and you have like dancers. They have big breasts for some reason, and they dance behind Wario. And you have to copy the moves of them. So they they're like that with the Game Boy at the top of their arm over the head, and like they move left, right, left, right, left, and then there's a countdown: 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you have to do the same thing as them. But the countdown is kind of misleading. It says 4, 3, 2, 1, and you have to start moving on 1 and not after the 1. And it's super counterintuitive. You just want to
Mm-hmm.
wait for the go, or just wait a half second after the countdown to start moving, but then the game just boost you, and if you miss once, you have to start the old rhythm game again. And since it's a boss stage, it's actually 5 different sequence of moves that you have to repeat. So you can be at the very last sequence, do a false move, and you have to start everything again. And also, there's a move where the ladies, the dancers, jump, and for the life of me, I was not able to make the jump. I actually tried installing a hack that replaces the motion controls with button controls, and I still wasn't able to make it work. And that's
Mm.
when I realized that I wasn't supposed to jump with the Game Boy Advance. I was supposed to press the A button to make Wario jump, which is really dumb because if you remember, in the game, they're dancing with the Game Boy at the top of their head, at the top of
Mm-hmm.
their hand, over their head. So it doesn't really make sense that you're supposed to be also hitting the button because you're copying what they're doing. So you have the Game Boy at over your head, and it yeah. I
Seems a little
used
counterintuitive.
Oh yeah, so I used some save states because I was really fed up, and I managed to get a win. And after that, the game actually becomes way better because then you get harder challenges and you can grind to unlock all the mini games and you can just play the game and not have to sit through all those dumb other things.
Okay.
So I did not beat the game 100%. So I've beaten all the levels and all the secret levels I've unlocked, but I did not unlock all the mini games because I would just have to like grind those mini games over and over for a couple hours, and I don't feel like doing that. But for what I played, I've had a good time.
Cool.
So
So where would you like to place it on the tier list? Sound kind of mixed on it.
yeah, I'm a bit mixed. Uh, I think this has to go in. This is fine. Like getting through the game is, it's really impressive how they actually made a game that still works so well in 2025 with that motion control and
Mm-hmm.
with a phone. That's super impressive. The mini games are fun, except for that last bus stage. But yeah, that bus stage and all the cutscenes really drags it down. And I think if you get this game, maybe just get a save file with it and try to just play the games instead of doing the old story mode. But yeah,
Okay.
it, Warrior fun time, just not it's just not perfect.
Not the best Warioware game.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. For me, the final game that I'm bringing today is the weirdest one that I'm bringing today. It is a game called Rabi-Ribi, which was a game that was released on the Vita in 2017. This is a bullet hell Metroidvania. Um,
Okay.
the first thing that you should know about this game is that it is very, very anime. Um,
Hmm.
all of the characters are like very cute anime girls, but it's not anime in like the what like in a mature like lewd kind of way. They're just cute anime girls. And I should not lean away from my microphone while I'm talking. That does not go for good recording. But that's there is like some anime tropes in this game that I don't know. If you're not into anime, you may find kind of weird. Um, I, I don't have a problem with anything in this game, but I could see somebody maybe being like, "Well, why is this kind of like a little voyeuristic in some ways?"
Yeah,
Um, but like anime's gonna do what anime does. Like, I don't
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
is what it is. That's not the primary point of this game. The main story of this game is that you're a character who is named Rabi, and you were a rabbit who got transformed into a human. So this character that you're playing is like this anime girl with bunny ears and like a leotard and like a little bunny tail, and she's followed around by this fairy, and the story is kind of boring and drones on, and you get into a lot of dialogue where it just keeps fucking going, and you're talking to these characters and it just keeps going, and I've started just skipping the story at this point. Like I always try
Yeah.
and give a story a chance, but I just don't think the story in this game is very good or very compelling, and that's not the reason I'm playing a Metroidvania. I'm here for the gameplay, and the gameplay is pretty good. Um, So, like I said, it is a bullet hell. So all of your enemies are shooting either like sprays of bullets in various ways. And the weird thing is that your character's hitbox is not like your entire actual character. Your character's sprite is like very chibi style. So your head is very large on top of a very small body. And for the most part, from what I can tell, it does not seem like your head is part of your hitbox, only your body is.
Okay.
So that is seems it's a little counterintuitive when like there's a lot of bullets on screen and you can move part of your sprite through those bullets, but not other parts of your sprite through those bullets. So
Hmm.
that can be kind of a pain. Um, but when it comes to your attacks, you have both melee attacks and shooting attacks. Um, and you unlock uh more moves and stuff as the game goes. So you have like a basic combo with your melee attack, which is a very short range. You have a hammer, and then your fairy that follows you around with you has a ranged projectile attack, and you unlock more different types of ranged projectile attacks. And then if you press and hold the shoot button, which I believe is square, um, you will charge up a special attack, and each of the different types of special weapon or ranged weapon that you're using do different fully charged attacks. So like one of them is like a very strong just straight beam shot. Another one of them will be like a spread shot. One of them will be like homing missiles,
Hmm.
things like that. So it comes down to basically you're trying to recruit all of these people to uh do something with the story. I don't know, but basically what that comes down to is you have to go around through the Metroidvania style levels and find these characters, and thankfully uh they've done a thing kind of like Metroid Fusion did where they marked where on your map you're supposed to go, which I appreciate in a game like this. That's the
Hmm.
map is very large and actually spread out over like 10 different individual map pieces.
Okay.
Um, so it's nice that in a game like in a game that's this large that it actually tells you where you're supposed to go, but not how to get there. So There'll just be like a blinking spot somewhere on the map, and it could be somewhere that you haven't even explored yet. So now you have to find out how to get to that spot. Um, I know some people don't like that in Metroidvanias, but I think in a game like this where it is so open and very non-linear, and the game is so large, if it didn't have some kind of indication of where you were supposed to be going next, then it would get frustrating just running around the entire map trying to figure out where you're supposed to go. So
Mhm.
I think it actually helps in this case. Um, Problem with the map though is that all of like the items and collectibles that you can find throughout the map. So you'll find the normal stuff you'd find in like a Metroid game. Things that increase your attack power, things that increase your total health, things that increase your total MP. You also have there's a whole sticker system where you can buy or unlock these stickers, which are essentially these badges that you can equip to yourself that give you different additional abilities, like plus to attack, defense, make certain types of attacks better, increase your defense against certain types of attacks, things like that.
Uh-huh.
And you can only equip so many of them at any point in time, and they cost a number of points. And so you'll get these upgrades also that increase the total number of points of these stickers that you can equip to your character. Um, I think there's another type of upgrade that you can find, just kind of generally laying around. Anyway, the point is that all these things show up as dots on your map, but once you
Mhm.
collect them, the dots don't go away or disappear or mark themselves as collected in any way. So if you find like a health upgrade, but it's in a place where you can't get to it yet, you can't tell the difference between that health upgrade that you have not picked up and one that you picked up at the beginning of the game that was not hidden behind a mechanic that you did not have access to yet. Kind of
That's
frustrating.
yeah, that sounds like a problem.
Yeah, for a game that was released in 2017, I do think that's a problem.
Yeah.
Now I also don't think that going back and trying to get all of like the health upgrades that are scattered around the map is very worthwhile. I have not died very often. The only times I have died was when I went up against a boss that I was not supposed to fight yet, because there are some places where you can get to an encounter that um it'll tell you like the character's level that you're fighting against,
Mhm.
and you can see there are like RPG mechanics, so you level up in various ways. So like I ended up fighting against a character where I was level like 16 and they were like 36. I was not supposed to be fighting that character yet. Like they were along a path that was not leading to any of my destinations that I was supposed to be going to, but I was able to get there because nothing mechanically was blocking my path except for this
Mhm.
character. But yeah, overall I think this game is really cool. I'm probably like a third of the way through with it if I had to take a guess, like somewhere between a quarter and a third of the way through. I've probably been playing for 4 hours or so. I think it's
Okay.
good. I don't think
Yeah.
it's great. I would right now I would put this in this is fine. And it may go up or down depending on how I feel when I come around to finishing it. I
Yeah.
just haven't quite found the time to play more Vita. So I think it's good. If you're looking
Yeah.
for an interesting Metroidvania, I think it's worthwhile for sure.
Yeah. That sounds like an interesting combination. I've not seen that often. So that's pretty unique. That's
Yeah.
good.
All right. I think that gets us through all of our games that
Yeah.
we've been playing.
An awesome time. 3 bangers, 3 great games, and 3 this is fine. That's a pretty and Thrillville of the of the rails, but that one went off the rails pretty quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it did. All right. Let's move into some hobby time. Max, why don't you go ahead and start?
Yeah, I have a little update on the board game I made based on High Stakes, the Pico 8 casino game. So I was done with that game, and I sent some screenshots, not screenshot, but pictures of the product to the creator of the game, Chrisman. He was on Mastodon, so I had to create a Mastodon account just for that. But yeah, I sent it to him, and he really loved the concept. He was pretty intrigued in how I managed to translate its is different systems from the game into a board game format. So I explained everything to him, and yeah, I'm just happy that I could share that with the guy, and he was really happy to see it. He shared it on his Discord. I joined the Discord just to see, and all the people were pretty impressed. And yeah, I think it's pretty good. I asked him in my message if like a license could be bought or something if I wanted to like make some money and sell a couple uh editions of this game, and
Mm-hmm.
he never mentioned that part of my message. So I'm actually now designing like a new artwork and concept for the game. Like I think translating the different mechanics into gameplay is derivative enough. Anyway, gameplay elements cannot really be copyrighted. So
Right.
I'm I'm making my own version of the game for an eventual board game release. I'm not exactly sure how that will go. If I will just make a game crafter version that can be bought by anyone, or if I will take some orders and do it myself, or try to sell the idea to a company in Quebec that do board games. So I'm not sure where I will go with that, but I'm changing the Casino aesthetic with like an adventure theme with the cards are snow steps of a Yeti, and you have to avoid the Yeti. But it's exactly the same game where you try to avoid one card, and it's all like a Casino game, but
Mm-hmm.
with a different aesthetic. So yeah.
Okay. All right. For me, I didn't do much in terms of hobbying. Um, these last few weeks, I've been gaming and busy with some other stuff, so I hadn't really had the time. Plus, we got a lot of snow here in Kansas City, so I've been dealing with that and just kind of being snowed in and everything. But I did decide to start composting, and so like I had to designate a space within my yard and like
Hmm.
dig out kind of a hole in the ground and set up fencing and whatnot to be able to start composting. And a lot of this came down to or came from the idea that, well, for a couple of things. One, my girlfriend has rabbits, and the more I've been looking into composting, the more I've realized that like just all of the rabbit manure that we've been throwing away, I could be putting in my garden instead
Yeah.
as fertilizer. So
Hmm.
uh, like that's great. And then we also just like eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, so there's always a lot of scrap from fruits and vegetables
Yep.
that could just go in the pile instead of in the trash. Um, so working on that, I had always been told in the past that like, oh, composting is so hard, blah blah blah. Like you're gonna end up with just a pile of stinky rot in your backyard. And then the more I look into it, the more everybody's who is who does it regularly, is kind of just like, no, like it's not that
Yeah.
hard. Just throw shit in there. Like it's fine.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
So, I'll be growing a bunch of hot peppers this spring into summer. So, I will need a bunch of soil and fertilizer, and if I as I continue to grow more and more peppers every year. Um, so having my own fresh soil that I can just make in the backyard will be very helpful for that side of the hobby also.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the ground wasn't too frozen for you to dig your hole, or
No, I did this before we got
okay,
the
okay.
snow. So the snowstorm hit last weekend, so we are recording currently on the 10th on Friday. So it was last weekend we got the snow. The week before that, I didn't dig like super deep into the ground, but like I got rid of all the grass in the area, and then
Yeah.
so I had to dig up that top layer of sod and everything, just so I could get down to fresh soil and be able to have access to the dirt and everything. But yeah,
Oh,
so it's something.
yeah. Trash station and compost station.
Yeah.
two two side of the coin. Oh, that's cool. We have like citywide composting, so we are since like last year or
Mhm.
something. So all my scraps go into like purple bags, and we leave that in the trash. And supposedly they figure that out at the sorting station, and
Right.
that all goes into biomethanization, or it's not exactly compost, but like same idea.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have a citywide like recycling program or composting
Hmm.
program, so um, I figured this will be a way to just get rid of some of the stuff and be able to reuse some of the stuff that we use here at the house. So
Yeah, great idea. And
that's it for me.
cool. For my final hobby, I've been making more board games. So dur over the Christmas time, I shared one of my old ideas of a Quiplash style board game based on
Mhm.
haikus. So basically, you draw a first line of a haiku, and then the judge player writes the second line, and then everybody else has like little cards that you can write on it, and you pitch in your joke final sentence of the haiku, so like the third line of the poem, poem in big air quotes, and you have a good laugh by writing dumb stuff.
I'm
So
just real quick.
yeah,
I just want because your accent is a little thick. I want to make sure that our
yeah,
listeners can understand. He
thank
is
you.
saying haiku, the
Yeah,
the the Japanese style of poem where it's like what, is it, five, three, five
yeah,
syllables. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
we
just want to make
pronounce
sure
it.
that was clear
Yeah,
because, like, I
haikus.
can understand you, but we talk, you know, all the
Yeah,
time
yeah, yeah.
at this point.
Thank you,
So,
thank you. Yeah, we pronounce that Japanese word very differently here.
yeah.
So yeah, so Quiplash style game, just writing shit up. So in the past week or so, I've been designing 100 different like starter lines, and I made
Mhm.
my cards, and I decided to print everything out. And with that, I managed to like really try out my card making process that I've been developing with high stakes in the past few months. And I would say that it works really well. So
Good.
basically, I take some glossy photo paper, I print on both sides, and I have a little setup so that it's aligned both front and back. That doesn't really matter in this style of party game, but so it's printed front back on the same sheet, and then I use some dollar store uh, plastic, self-laminating plastic, and I recover both the front and the back. And then I put that into my hot laminating machine so they really fuse together, both the plastic and the paper. And then I have my good cutter machine that helps me make straight cuts and good cuts every time. And it works good. I found like the good steps to cut them efficiently, so it's pretty fast cutting all the 10 cards on my sheet. And I did some maths, and with my dollar star plastic self-laminating roll, it comes down to like 20 cents per sheet of paper, so like 2 cents per card to laminate the cards. So it's also like pretty cost efficient so far.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to be like really nitpicky, and I am often, I'd say the cards I are just like slightly too thick. I can send you a picture right now.
Yes, please.
Basically, if I have made 50 cards yesterday, and if I stack all those 50 cards one over the other, they are like 26 cards more higher than a deck of Magic the Gathering cards. So like the 50, what you're looking at is 50 Magic the Gathering cards and 50 of my cards, and you can see that my cards are quite thicker, but it's not like it's not
Not
twice
by
as
that
thick.
much.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. It's very tolerable. Like I could continue making my cards with those steps, and it's fine. I'm happy with that. I'm like 95 happy with that. But I would like to look maybe into a slightly thinner photo paper if that exists, and I would like be 100% happy.
So what I would say is that your pile of 50 cards probably compares to, it's height wise, a pile of like 60 to 65 Magic the Gathering cards rather
Yeah,
than
I
50.
actually counted it, and it's like 67 or 68.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
was really close.
Yeah, you were really close. So yeah, it's really not that much. It's just like a hair too thick. When you
Right.
pile them up, it starts to like be noticeable, but it's thin enough that it feels like a real professional card, and I'm really happy with that.
Right. I wonder though if, because they're laminated, would that mean that you wouldn't have to put the cards in sleeves if you wanted to play them like on a
Yeah,
regular basis? So that would end up
yeah,
actually
exactly.
saving space, I think, in the long run. Because you
Yep.
basically already have them sleeved. 'Cause, like all
Yeah,
of the card games that I've bought in the past, not talking about Magic the Gathering, I'm talking about like deck building card games that you
yep,
buy in boxes as though they were a board game. I always put all of those cards into sleeves to make sure that they don't get damaged over time,
yep.
like I would with a Magic deck, and that ends up, you know, doubling the amount of space that
Yeah,
they end
it's
up
way
taking.
thicker.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if they're laminated and they don't feel like they need to be in sleeves, that could actually be a benefit in the long run, is my point.
Yeah, that's true. But still, there's still like the edge that's exposed. So like the
Oh, yeah,
front
that's
and the
true.
back are laminated, but the sides could still like take some water damage.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're fully laminated because I cut through the plastic.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I'm really getting there. So if I can find my another paper that's just slightly thinner, I would be really happy. But for now, I will for sure go through all my pile of photo paper that I have. It's perfectly fine. It's way better than I was 3 months ago. I'm so happy.
Excellent. I'm glad you finally got it figured out.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, that does it for my hobby time.
Okay. Let's move on to loot box then. Okay. I actually need to. I'm gonna pull something back up
Okay.
before I start talking about my loot box. Okay, so my first loot box is a channel called Ceiling Steps, and this is a video called 7K subs overnight. I found this guy because of Reddit. So
Okay.
a post was made on r/make me smile that went absolutely viral. Like when I found it, it was at like 125,000 upvotes, which is a lot for Reddit. So
Yeah.
that means that like it hit r/all and it's going viral on that platform in a lot of ways. Essentially, what happened was the guy who runs this channel sent a an Amazon Kindle to somebody for Christmas, some other random Redditor who lives in Brazil, and
Okay.
I believe it was Brazil. If I got that wrong, I apologize. But he sent a Kindle to this guy because Kindles were very expensive in Brazil, and this dude was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give it to this guy because like it's the Christmas season. Why not? I'll be nice,
Cool.
help somebody out." Huge, nice gesture. Like sometimes people on Reddit are actually really cool. I've gotten some really cool things from other people that I've met on that platform in the past. Not as gifts, but That's
Yeah.
besides the fucking point. We're not gonna go there.
All right.
So this post blows up, and somehow some internet sleuth finds out that the guy who gave this gentleman the Kindle has a YouTube channel where he was posting like vlog style updates for this indie game that he's been making, um, which I believe is what's called Ceiling Steps.
Okay.
So this guy is making an indie game that is supposed to be a spiritual successor to like Wii Fit or the what was the fitness game that was on the Switch?
Ring Fit Adventure.
Ring Fit Adventure. So it's supposed to be kind of like that, except it uses your webcam and
Okay.
is done on PC, obviously. And he is making this fitness game, and this exposure from this Reddit post has caused him to gain a bunch of subscribers on his YouTube channel and a bunch of people following him on Steam now. So
Oh, cool.
he got a bunch of traction from it, which is, you know, really cool. Like it's an interesting idea. His game looks like it's interesting. It's probably not something that I would personally play, but I thought it was a heartwarming story, and it was a really I thought it was interesting. So I went over, I followed his YouTube channel. I'll be keeping up to date with this, and eventually it'll get released at some point in time. But it's a solo dev making a project that probably most people wouldn't have heard about unless this random thing happened on the internet. So
cool. So cool.
And then my second shout out is a channel that I've been watching a bunch of recently called Amateur Chemistry. I believe this guy is Dutch. I think he's definitely European.
Okay.
But I might be wrong about what country he's coming from. The video that I'm specifically linking today is making vinegar from vodka. But what he does is he goes through the process of making essentially random chemicals for the most part from otherwise weird things that you wouldn't think you would be able to get those end products from, using a variety of different synthesis methods via chemistry, and talking through the process of like what's happening in the chemical reactions as they're happening. And I always enjoyed chemistry class when I was in school, but it was not something that I wanted to like study as a major or anything like that. So I think his channel is interesting, and he makes entertaining videos about being educational, which is always a good thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's enough trash on YouTube. It's fun actually learning something. It reminds me a bit of Nile Blue. I'm sure you've seen that guy on YouTube.
I have, yeah. I like Nile Blue. Kind of. I think his videos are a little.
Yeah.
There's something that I don't quite like about them. Like I'll watch them, but I'm also like, but why are you talking so much about this? Like it's like he
Yeah.
feels a need
There,
to constantly be
like,
quipping at the camera or something.
yeah, exactly. There's a bit. Yeah, I agree. There's too much quip, and sometimes it's like just get to the point. you
Yeah.
you don't need to have that much personality in your video. But yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't mind personality. Like personality is obviously a lot of things, and Nile Blue's insanely successful. He's got like
Yeah,
3 million
exactly.
subscribers or something like that. Like
So he
who am I
must
to
be.
fucking judge the guy?
Yeah,
He's
he
doing
must be.
fine.
Yeah, he must be doing something good.
Yeah.
All right. On my end, I've been diving. I don't know if diving is the right word, but I've been falling into a new niche on YouTube since I started making card games and everything. It's actually watching some people making card games, and
Okay.
there's two people I've been watching in the past few weeks. The first one is Bigholes, and the video I want to shout out is Hasbro was too scared to make this, and it's not a card game. This one, but side tangent, he's making a show accurate version of Card Wars, which was like a card game in the show Adventure Time that was featured in like 2 episodes and a half or something like that, and is
Okay.
basically taking the cues from those little scenes and trying to transpose that into what the game must be so that those scenes can happen, basically. And I've been really enjoying that series of him trying to figure out the rules of the game. But his last video was he tried to combine Connect Four and Monopoly into the same game. So
Okay.
it's like a 4 of 7 type of deal. So you play a first round of Connect Four, and each squares as a monopoly property, and once you've won the game, you've basically acquired the properties where you did your 4 in a row, and those properties then your opponent cannot play on those properties in the next game. So each game makes the board different for the next game, and I think it's actually a pretty good idea, and the video was pretty fun, and it's just a silly idea. Yeah, it's fun. And my second recommendation is Chaos Galaxy TCG. And the series I've been watching is Making a TCG from Scratch. And the guy is just trying to make a new kind of, I'd say kind, but a new TCG, brand new idea. And each episode is either adding a new mechanic or testing another mechanic. His first videos in the series are more like you put that in the background where you do
Mhm.
something else, because he put the full playtest of him playing a game against himself with his 2 decks. So it's not super interesting to be focused on that, but his latest videos, he's speeding up through that process and summarizing what happened in the game, and I think that's really much better. And I like how he goes around adding really one element at a time and just trying to really figure out what the rules he wants to have in his own
Mhm.
card game. And I like to see the differences in how he makes his cards and everything. Uh, since his prototyping is just like printing cards and putting them in sleeves, but still, it's fun seeing like the different ideas of making the game and what tools he used and everything. And yeah, I like watching videos and I like making stuff, so I love watching videos of people making stuff, and it's been a super uh, inspiring watching
Yeah.
those people having ideas and building their games. And yeah, I think I'm probably gonna find other YouTubers in the same genre in 2025, because I've been really liking seeing that. And since it's card games and board games, the iteration process is super fast. It's not like making a video game where if you watch some devlogs between episodes, it's like, yeah, I've tweaked the jump, I've done 2 sprites or something like that. When you're
Mhm.
doing a board game, you can change all the rules and just play with your new rules. So it's pretty
Right.
exciting seeing how the game evolves through every episodes.
You should really check out the guys I shouted out. I believe I shouted them out last episode, Distraction Makers,
Yeah,
because they talk a lot about just kind of like game mechanics in board games and card games, and how they affect player experience. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think you should definitely check them out. Since you're diving a little bit more into the board game world. Like, yeah, they do talk about video games a bit on that channel also, but a lot of their focus is more. I mean, it's focused on games, and a lot of the same general ideas are applied when it comes to end user experience across both board games and video games. But uh, yeah, you should definitely check them out.
yeah. I've opened the tab. I'm gonna add that to my watch later. I don't know for you, but I actually use the watch later function. I put stuff in watch later all the time, and whenever I'm bored, I just go back into my watch later and actually watch that stuff.
Yeah, I use it sometimes. I also have some stuff that's been sitting in my watch later for like 5 years, so
Yeah.
that I never got around to still.
Yep. I know the feeling.
Yeah, always something else coming up on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the platform.
Right.
Always new videos.
Yeah. But all right. Let's move on to emails. And if you would like to reach out to us with any questions, comments, or topics of discussion, you can email us at thetrashstation@gmail.com. And Max, you have a note here about finishing LHC Greg's awards, but I do not have that anywhere in
I
front of
have
me.
I have them in front of me. You can get the Rob's email while I read the last few awards that LHC Greg gave to games in 2024.
Okay.
So, his best game released in 2024 was Shadow of the Ninja Reborn. It was actually the only game that he played that was released in 2024, so it won by default. The best game he replayed was TMNT3, the Manhattan Project. I don't know that one. I suppose it's another one of the beat 'em ups. Yeah, it's a beat
Yeah, that
'em
was
up.
on the NES.
Yeah. Good. Is award of the best music. He says, I played a ton of games with great music this year, but I'm giving the nod to Gun Vein. He also sent out a link to the OST, and he says that the stage 1 track is the best in its opinion, but all the soundtrack is good. It also
Excellent.
has the advantage of being in an automatically scrolling shoot 'em up, so events in the game are tied to the points in the music. And yeah, like my favorite shmup is Jamestown, and the music is just like so epic, and it just always fit because it's always in the same points of in the level.
Right.
The best trash game goes to Altered Beast because it gave me a bingo square, and I needed that for bingo.
It is a
It
trashy game.
Yeah, it is. And his best jank game was Medal of Honor Underground. You have enemies trying to shoot through walls and becoming aware of your presence before they should. Some walls, like hedges, the enemies can shoot through, but you can't. If you backtrack through a level to collect a health item you left, it will sometimes not be visible until you go a bit past it and then turn around. Still a decent FPS for the 5th gen. And yeah,
Did you ever play any of the old Medal of Honor games?
I played one on Wii for a bit, but it's really muddy. So not really.
Okay. Because I don't think they've held up very well. Like, I remember really liking both Medal of Honor on PS1 and then, like, Frontline and Rising Sun on PS2. And I don't think any one of those three games have stood up through the test of time.
Yeah, it was like a weird time for FPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the one I played was Brothers in Arms. It's the only one I played for a bit on my Wii. I'm pretty sure.
I thought Brothers in Arms was a different series altogether.
Oh, maybe I'm.
There was, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was a Medal of Honor on Wii that I own that I
Oh.
have not played yet.
Hmm.
Called Medal of Honor Vanguard.
That seems familiar, but at the same time, I'm not sure. Maybe it was. Hmm. I'm kind of confused. I don't remember. Maybe it was just a Brothers in Arms game then. Is there one for Wii? No, that's not the one. I think that was the I
Yeah,
think it
Brothers in Arms
was.
Double Time was on Wii.
Yeah, I think I played
And
Medal
Road to
of
Hill
Honor.
30.
Yeah, I think I played a bit of Medal of Honor Heroes too. I think that's the
Okay.
cover that I feel like I remember.
I
But
wonder if these Brothers in Arms games are any good. I'm gonna save this.
yeah.
I might buy these. They're like $5. I might buy these games.
And finally, his last award was Best Indie Game he played in 2024, and it was Super Meat Boy. Awesome pick, LHG Greg. Thank you for the email.
Yes, thank you very much. I've not played Super Meat Boy yet. That's one that I've been putting off because like I liked Celeste quite a bit, but I also got really angry playing Celeste, and I don't know if I want to put myself through something like that again.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot less mechanics in Super Meat Boy. It's more about traversal and avoiding traps,
Okay.
while Celeste has more movement tech, I think.
Okay. I don't know. I'll try it out eventually, I'm sure. I just haven't brought myself to it yet. Anyway, we have a email here from Robert, and the title is "Pondering the Very Meaning of What It Is to Ponder Something." And he says, "Hey guys, got a comment and a question. Comments. On the last episode, Max noted that he doesn't like beat 'em ups and just can't get into them. Well, I tend to feel the same way about them, and am definitely not a huge fan of the genre myself. I found myself sucked into a few beat 'em ups from time to time, mostly Ninja Turtles ones, and I have some advice for how to appreciate them. My advice is basically to forget about the gameplay and just absorb the music and the visuals. Turtles in Time is my and many others' favorite all-time beat 'em up, or all-time favorite beat 'em up. And at least for me, is because it looks so damn good, sounds so damn good, and has such cool looking levels. The same goes for the Simpsons Arcade and the Streets of Rage games. More recent beat 'em up throwbacks like Streets of Rage 4 and Shredder's Revenge seem to understand this well, and those games in particular got everything right. And if you're playing with a group of friends, that amplifies the experience too. So what do you think about that, Max?
I don't know. For me, they just feel boring. Like when I pick up a controller, it's to experience some gameplay. So if I wanted some music, I put some music. If I wanted to watch a movie, I would put a movie. So if the go the goal of the game is just to have fun with my friends, I don't really need like the incentive of a beat 'em up that won't give me a challenge and where I will just mash a button for 30 minutes until the end of the level. Like I played a bit of Shredder's Revenge and it was like, yeah, it's kind of fun for 5 minutes, but after that it's pretty boring. I'm just mashing buttons and there's no real challenge.
Have you played Streets of Rage 4 yet?
No.
Okay. I think that's legitimately one of the best beat 'em ups that's been made. Like it's definitely better than like I don't think I like it more than Streets of Rage 2 just because I grew up with Streets of Rage 2 and played that game a lot. But it's
Hmm.
really, really good, and it has a lot deeper mechanics than just mash the buttons. Um, so that's one that I can personally recommend as like a very solid modern beat 'em up. That's well worth playing.
Okay, okay. I'll keep an eye on it.
So, if you pick it up on Steam, I will buy a copy of it also, and we can play a little bit of it together because I'll buy it again. It's fine. I
Okay.
own it on
Oh,
PlayStation, but I'll buy a second
okay.
copy of it.
Awesome.
All right. So he continues on with a question. On that note, do you guys have any games that transcend their genres for you? Specifically, I'm asking about games that you like or love, but that fall within genres you don't typically like. For me, the standout is Super Metroid. I don't really care for gated exploration games nowadays, but there's no possible way to dislike Super Metroid, which I disagree with. But we can get back to that in just a second. Much like beat 'em ups, I think the visuals are a big part of why it wins me over, but there's no denying it's simply a great game all around. Talk to you soon, Rob. Now, before we answer this question, I would like to comment on Super Metroid. Um, I think there are
Rob's just
certain.
trying to be nice and we're trashing his opinion.
I know, Rob. We very much appreciate you emailing us, and we're not trying
Yep.
to personally attack you in any way, shape, or form. Um, And I don't hate Super Metroid. I just don't think that game has stood the test of time in the same way that other games in its genre have. So I think the Castlevania Symphony of the Night and the Castlevania like Metroidvania games on Game Boy Advance are better than Super Metroid because Super Metroid has mechanics that are obtuse to the point that you one need the manual to understand them, which is a product of its time, but there's also things in that game that you would never know and you would get stuck unless you had Nintendo power, which is a problem. So
Hmm.
there's a part in Super Metroid, and this is the part that I got stuck at multiple times before I finally ended up beating the game. There's a glass tube that you have
Yeah.
to super bomb. And this is my primary go-to example of why this game has not held up. If you don't know that you're supposed to super bomb that glass tunnel, you will never be able to progress farther into Super Metroid. And there's nothing in the game that tells you that you can do that. But Nintendo Power tells you that you have to do that. So
Yeah.
I shouldn't need a fucking $10 magazine to tell me how to progress in my game. Um, I don't like that. There's also the boss where you have to like let him grab you and then use the hook shot type thing to like plug into the wall to electrocute him. Um, there's no indication that that's how you're supposed to defeat that boss. Um, and I maybe I'm just bad and there you can actually beat him without doing that. I don't remember what the name of that boss was either, but um like without looking up a guide as to how to beat that boss, I was never able to defeat that boss either. So, I think Super Metroid has a few problems that hold it back. Also, the wall jumping sucks in that game. It's just not good.
Yeah. 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 I agree with the jump.
Um, like everything else, if those couple of problems were taken away from that game, the game would be a perfect 10 out of 10. But those few things I think hold it back from being an absolutely perfect game. Like it's a fun game. It plays really really well, especially for its time. It's one of the best playing games on the Super Nintendo. But it's like a 7.5 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. I've searched on Reddit if anyone like had a theory on how you're supposed to guess that you need to power bomb the glass tube, and there's actually kind of an int room where it looks like the glass tube but broken up, and you can get some power bombs there. It's very obtuse, but
That's
there's
not a
like
hint.
one that that's a percent of a hint.
Okay. I don't believe that that's actually a hint. Like that's supposed to be like yeah, like you said, a percent of a hint, but that's not much of a hint. Like come on. You guys
Yeah, no.
Reddit, you
You
know
got to
better.
be, yeah, yeah. You need to be, yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Um Coming to that game from a perspective of somebody who did not grow up with it and did not grow up with the Super Nintendo, there are frustrations that can only be alleviated by having Nintendo Power at the time.
Hmm. But
So,
yeah, I think Rob is more on the side of absorbing the ambience and maybe not finishing the game.
oh yeah, the
I
ambience
think
is great.
if you just like want to play the game for a couple hours and just soak in the universe of Metroid, yeah, it's really great. But to actually beat the game, there's a few endurance here and
Yeah.
there.
So his question, do you have any games that transcend their genre for you? Specifically asking about games that you like or love, but that fall within genres you don't typically like.
Yeah, I actually ended up with two answers for his question. The first one is Little League. I really don't usually like fighting games. It's just learning how to react to another person is not really what I want
Mm-hmm.
in a video game. But Little League is a fighting game that kind of gets rid of that because you're both fighting against the ball and not really against each other. So
Yeah.
it's actually a fighting game that I have a lot of fun playing, and I know it's one of your favorite games too, especially the second one.
Yeah. It's really
And
good.
hmm and the second game is a free game, kind of old game called Battle for Westnut. Do you know about this game?
I've heard the name before, but it's not one that I'm like very familiar with. So enlighten me.
So it's a turn-based strategy game. So you're on an X map, and it's kind of like Warcraft if or Starcraft if you want. It's all fantasy, but you're deploying your units, and you can capture different castles around the map, and your goal, like in Starcraft and Warcraft, is to kill the army of your opponent. So the main game is just 1v1, and you're deploying your different units, and your units, they will fight like old rogue style. So one unit does its damage and the other unit does its damage, and it's just back and forth. There's no strategy to the combat instead outside of the positioning. And yeah, it's kind of a mix between a strategy game and an RTS. And I don't really play strategy game, and I don't really play RTSs. And like I said, I don't really like playing against other people. But somehow, Battle for Westnut, I really like the concept. I really like the your units can it's like an RPG, so they can evolve during the game if they get enough experience and win enough battles. And it's free, it's fun, it's really an awesome experience. I really like Battle for Westnut, and I have not played that game in a long time. And now it's free on Steam, so I have literally no reason to not actually play Battle for Westnut. It has some old graphics. It's pretty crude pixel art, but
That's fine.
yeah, it's fine. It looks a bit like Warcraft uh 2, I think. Like it looks like those old games, but on an X grid. And yeah, I don't play those kind of games often, but this one, it has something special. I like it.
Okay. Um, I did not prepare an answer for this question beforehand. So while you were talking, I was looking through like my last few like lists of game of the year and stuff, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna say Descenders is one that definitely stands out as a game that is in a genre that I don't normally enjoy. Oh, excuse me. So Descenders is a uh downhill biking like trick style game, but it's also a roguelike
Okay.
kind of. Um and so essentially all you're doing is it's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, except you're doing downhill BMX style biking instead of skateboarding. So you're doing tricks as you're riding a bike downhill, and you are just progressing through a series of levels and trying to get through the end of this set of levels. And it's all procedurally generated, it's randomized, and you have to start back at the beginning every time you end up eventually failing. You have a certain number of lives to get through all of the levels within the four an eventual fifth world that I never was able to get to, which is like the secret bonus world. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't really care for like trick style games anymore. So I remember when I first saw a friend with a Dreamcast, and the game that he showed me was the Razor Scooter game for Dreamcast, which was
Hmm.
it was basically Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but on scooters instead.
Yeah.
And just being absolutely blown away by it, and wanting a Dreamcast specifically for that game at that point in time. Gone back and played it, and it's not good, but it was mind blowing in like '99 or 2000 when I first saw it. Um, that sounds right. Around that time, Dreamcast was around in '99, right? Or am I just completely
yeah,
fucking making that up? Okay.
yeah. I
Either
think
way,
so. I think so.
either way, it doesn't matter. Like I've gone back and I've tried to play like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and like the time limits that they give you in those games, and like trying to collect the things to be able to actually progress in those games, just kind of not really what I want to do. And Descenders, it became this game where uh not last year but the year before, it just became this game where I would just turn it on and play it for because I didn't have anything else that I wanted to play. So I would just sit there and play it for hours at a time, realistically, just to waste time. So
Oh,
it's fun, but I also like I've always enjoyed biking, so maybe there's something to that. Like,
yeah.
but I also like I skateboarded too, so there's no reason I shouldn't like Tony Hawk realistically, but rather get back out on a board. I just haven't. Ever since I hurt my knee, I can't do the fucking skateboarding anymore. It's me physically, I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Getting old.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an
Sucks.
awesome answer. I didn't know about this game. It looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's probably the only game that has like roguelike style elements that I've actually enjoyed, and I don't even think it's really that roguelike. Like you
No, it's
start
more of
back
an
over.
arcade game.
Yeah, it's much more arcade than it is roguelike.
Yeah,
But yeah, that would be my answer.
that's a great answer. Oh, thank you, Rob. That was a great
Yeah, thank you very
email.
much, Rob.
Yeah. And we love you, even if we don't totally agree with your choice of games.
Yeah. Rob, I will tell you, I like beat 'em ups. I'm not like
Yeah.
Max. I enjoy beat 'em ups.
You're not alone.
All right. But I think that's going to do it for us today. We would like to thank Heath Aldrich for our intro and outro music, and you can find a link to all of his music on his Bandcamp page at heathaldrich.bandcamp.com.
And we would also like to thank Rainbow Savvy Design for our logo. Links to both of their works will be available in the show notes.
And you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Scotch and Hobbies. I stream usually every Monday and Wednesday around 5 or 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you can find me on socials at Scotch and Hobbies.
And if you want to play some of my games, you can check out my itch.io page at itch.io/Potomax. Otherwise, you can see what I'm playing currently on Blusky at Potomax. And if you speak French, I have a ton of videos on the good old YouTube at youtube.com/Jeubière.
And you can find the podcast on Blue Sky at the Trashstation.
The Trashstation on Blue
We're
Sky.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. That was
It
a
was
great
fun.
first episode of 2025. Thank you, Chris. See you next
Thank you,
time.
Max. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.